Greetings, fellow humans. Welcome to LAAG. We are here today to bring you the inaugural of our character ranking segments where we rank all the characters in pop culture. That's right, every single one. We're not done until every single one appears on this list, and this is the first episode. You're getting it on the ground floor. I'm Max, and with me are my co-host Sam.
Hey.
And special guest, Mr. Burr.
Hi.
Thanks for coming, Mr. Burr. I'm glad to have you.
Thank you. I'm glad you're thinking.
I'm also glad to have you.
Thank you very much.
So, just to start out, we, previous to recording, have selected two characters to serve as our initial high and low points. We're not saying that this is the best or the worst character. This is just what we decided is going to be our initial guy seat on the list to rank everybody else against.
Yeah, one character and one character is definitely worse than him.
Exactly. Now, the low point on our list, to start out, is going to be the infamous Jar Jar Binks from the Star Wars prequel trilogy by George Lucas. I think he needs no introduction. And the high point on our list, to start out, is going to be, that's right, Indiana Jones from the classic film series Indiana Jones.
Indisputably swaggering.
That
cool.
That is a top pop culture character and achievement. The fact that they keep trying to bring him back alone says what it needs to say. But
yeah.
I don't think anybody could argue that Indiana Jones is a bad or at least not an interesting character.
No, he's great.
I mean, that is a classic pulp hero.
Yeah, he's got a hat. He's got a whip. He's got it all.
So, with those pole positions in mind, Mr. Burr, as our special guest, I think that you should bring us our first character for discussion. Who did you bring us?
So I'm going to put out the fantastic, the wonderful, the ever elegant Queen Padme Amidala.
Interesting. So, two Star Wars prequel trilogy characters on the list immediately.
So let me just throw this out there.
Yeah, lead us into it.
I love Natalie Portman. She's beautiful.
Sure.
Wicked hot.
Yeah.
Genius intelligence.
Fierce hot.
It's known.
You know.
That's a smart cookie.
And, you know, that really charged me, that relationship. I saw myself as young Anakin, growing up being young and seeing that.
Now, not Hayden Christensen Anakin, though. You specifically saw yourself, I recall, as Jake Lloyd Anakin.
Well, I mean, I was young. I was in 7th grade, so maybe. You know, we all know how, you know, props to Jake Lloyd. Hope you get your shit together. But beyond that, she was so hot. It just made me feel like if I were feeling like the Anakin I wanted to feel like, I wanted to grow up into a Hayden Christensen, you know, he was, movies aside, I just was like, that dude, he's got a life. And she was so hot. So hot.
Now, as a character, she's pretty good. She's a Star Wars, you know, queen / princess of, like, the standard mold. Star Wars has always been pretty good about having that lead royalty female character be extremely capable.
A little bit of a badass.
Right? And there's a twist with that character in the first movie, which is a pretty decent twist. If you don't have it spoiled for you, you're not going to catch that in advance because Keira Knightley looks exactly like Natalie Portman.
Keira Knightley is actually also beautiful.
They look the same.
Admired by me and many other men like me for her beauty. So,
now, all that said, as interesting as she is, I don't think that she ranks above Indy.
Above Indy? Maybe. Well, I do think she's more beautiful, and I like women better than men.
Now, I do want to get real early in. I want to establish that this list is not about the physical appearances of any of these characters. Now, that is a factor.
How about her morals?
That is a factor.
She has better morals
than Indy?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he'll shoot a guy who wants to get in a sword fight, for sure.
He'll shoot a Nazi.
Pure beauty. Pure.
Kami.
But I don't think anyone would ever argue that she's a worse character than Jar Jar Binks.
No.
So coming in at number 3 on our list is Queen Padme Amidala. Do we ever find out for sure if Padme is her real name? Like, it's like that? Padme Amidala?
I've never heard any other name other than Padme Amidala.
Right, well, or was it like Padme was the fake handmaiden name and Queen Amidala was like the royalty name?
People keep calling her Padme.
I guess that's true. Alright, Sam, you want to go next?
Sure, I'll go next.
Who'd you bring us?
Ed Tollett.
Who?
From The Wall. Dolores Ed Tollett.
The Wall?
In not Lord of the Rings, it's the other one, Game of Thrones. He serves as...
Dolores Ed?
Yeah, Dolores Ed Tollett.
Oh. I did not remember his last name.
Well, he is awesome. I think he might be the funniest character in Game of Thrones. He's all about that gallows humor.
Right.
Everything he says is just hilarious. It's just golden. You know, he just tells a story about losing a brother and what they did with the body. You know, this brother he drowned in wine. It didn't do nothing for the taste.
Dolores Ed, very interesting.
I know, right?
Brain.
Swing for the fences.
Dolores Ed.
Dolores Ed.
I barely remember that character, but you're right. He's one of the few brothers of the Night's Watch who, like, is always cool.
Spoiler
It's
alert.
always cool.
Spoiler alert. I think that MRF is done in the book. He's dead.
Nah, he's not dead.
In the book?
Nah, in the book, he's not dead.
Which one's... Oh, I guess. Great or whatever. I forget all of them.
The last we saw of him, Jon Snow sent him to help garrison one of the other castles at the wall. Right before Jon Snow gets stabbed by his brothers. So we don't know what's going on with that.
They had to send Ed away.
In the show, Dolores Ed is currently Lord Commander of the Night's Watch. So in the show, he's even more badass. So not quite as funny.
Dolores Ed's fine, but he's not. To me, he's not a standout.
Bro,
character.
I'm gonna say when I'm watching the game,
The game.
the game,
or reading the song.
when I'm reading the song, or when I'm in the game, I'm focused on the characters playing. The bench, it's good to have a strong bench, but I don't know. I'm not staring at the bench. I don't care who's on the bench. It's a bench player for me.
I like the supporting cast. I like finding the gems of the supporting cast.
I can't say that he's a bad character, but I don't know that he's an interesting character.
He's not as sexy as Natalie.
He's not.
Well, I'll concede that he's not as good as Queen Amidala.
Yeah, I think but I still...
I think he's better than Jar Jar.
Yeah, he's better than Jar Jar.
All right. There
Slot
we go.
in. And number 3. That is Dolores Ed Tullett.
Yeah, Tullett.
I hope that's how it's spelled, but no one's going to see it but us.
Yeah.
All right.
Matter.
So the first one on my list of 3 is also a supporting player, not as much of a supporting player, but it is Dargo from Farscape.
Oh, wow. All right. Dargo.
Farscape's own Klingon character.
Car Dargo. The, not Mocklin. That's Orville.
Sebation. No,
No.
that's the humans.
No, yeah, the Sebation.
Oh, I can't remember what.
Luxon. There we
The
go.
Luxon.
The Luxon.
With his signature blaster sword.
And tentacles coming off his face.
Dude, he's the only character outside of Final Fantasy who has a gunblade. Am I wrong?
That's a good point. He has a gunblade.
He has a goddamn gunblade.
The Quilta-Blade. Very good weapon. Ancient Luxon weapon.
I mean, he's a strong warrior. He fucks. We know.
Yeah.
I mean, well played by the actor.
See, with the Farscape, I've seen a few. I'm not an expert, but getting back to this, he fucks. What kind? Who is he? What kind of? Who are his?
That's Chiana.
Yeah.
And he had a Sebation wife, and they're basically humans. Chiana is blue and gray, but
and very promiscuous. I know you like that word.
Promiscuous.
But no, he's a badass warrior. The Heart of Gold.
Heart of Gold. He lives his life constantly containing his hyper rage.
It's Wolverine, dog.
I can relate, but I'll say it's an interesting character, but
I'm looking at better than Padme.
no, not for me. You love this girl, but I mean,
I have to agree. Better than Padme. Car Dargo.
Oh God, no, not for me. I mean,
He's such a bro.
You obviously don't know how much I love Natalie, so. But
how much you love Natalie Portman has nothing to do with this list.
Right. How good Queen Amidala is.
It has everything to do with my list. But I have seen Farscape enough. He's an interesting character, but you know what? We've seen Worf. We've seen. They're just like.
Imagine Worf with a gunblade.
Oh. I never used the gun part.
And he does heroically sacrifice himself. That's always worth a few extra points
Sure
in the cool character column.
So does Padme.
But does she heroically sacrifice herself so that others may live?
Well, she dies in childbirth.
Yes.
No.
She gives birth.
She dies an almost meaningless, horrifying death.
That was George Lucas' fault. They could have made the death scene.
Well, yeah, but everything's the fault of the creative team.
Metaphorically, yes.
Well,
The best.
we're going to outvote you on this one.
Yeah, there's no...
And I understand
no
your...
way.
But you would definitely agree that he's better than Dolores Ed.
Not really.
Oh, Mr. Burr, Mr.
Ooh.
Burr, Mr. Burr.
You
Really?
You have not seen enough Farscape, man. I'm telling you that.
I've seen a
Farscape
few. I'm
is...
not-
A few is not paying attention to how that show really works. You gotta watch seasons 2 and 3. It's amazing.
Well, so we're going to go ahead and slot in Dargo at the current number 2 spot. The only person cooler than Dargo is Indiana Jones, according to this list. That is indisputable. Mr. Burr, who is the next character you brought us?
Julene Blaylock
It's not a character.
as T-Pole is just beautiful.
T'Pol, the
T'Pol.
Vulcan first officer from Star Trek Enterprise,
She's wonderful to look at.
but is not a super compelling actress.
When I watch
It's
my
not
Star
her
Trek,
fault. She was a model coming on, not an actress.
And a model being told to play a Vulcan,
Right.
who has no emotion.
which
So
has no emotion.
Yeah, but as the people who have played very good Vulcans, like Leonard Nimoy and Tim Russ, have proven, it's all about presenting a holding back of emotion. It's not
No,
about presenting a pure emotionless robot.
That's true. With Spock, it seems like he's often holding back how he feels about the humor of things.
Spock is half
Whereas
Vulcan.
T'Pol-
Now, Spock is half human, but Tuvok, Tim Russ, who gets a lot of Spock-style points,
Yeah.
is fully Vulcan.
Yeah, and that's interesting because Tim Russ and T'Pol, Tuvok and T'Pol, both seem like they're holding back anger.
T-Pole's dope. They built the show around her.
She
She's
does
hot.
get better.
She definitely does.
And had the show continued and they had gone through with some of the plans they had to make her a permanent Starfleet officer, to reveal that she was actually half Vulcan, they could have done a lot of interesting things with that character. But, I mean, see, so much of what they do with that character is based on her relationship with Trip Tucker in that show. And that is real bumpy. Like, how much mileage you can really get out of that relationship.
Yeah, that's true.
They-
Her relationship with Archer is much better.
Yeah, I feel like they make the Trip thing work eventually, kind of just by, like, sticking to it. But at first, when they're just inventing weird reasons for T'Pol to be giving him massages in his quarters.
I loved the massages in the quarters.
That was better than, we were on a planet for a little while, so we have to sit in this room in our underwear and rub gel on each other. It's a better
We're doing
excuse than that.
way too
Just sitting
often.
in the room and rubbing gel. I love. I'm telling you, man, that was compelling television. It's everything I wanted to see when I was watching
No pun
Enterprise.
intended. Yeah.
I really did. I like to stare at her face because it's beautiful.
Look, no one's disputing the attractiveness of Julene Blaylock,
Not at
but
all.
is T'Pol even the best character on Enterprise? No.
No.
She's not as interesting as Archer or Trip or Porthos or Dr. Phlox.
No, I don't.
Porthos, man, cheese is bad for him, but he'd still give him a little slice of cheese once in a while. That's character.
No, T'Pol is beautiful.
I think that T'Pol is a better character than Dolores Ed.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think that
she's number 2. Most of the scenes written about her. Bro, you talk about people that translate over to the audience, who bring in the audience because they want to come see what's given, and they just give that.
I would argue that Julene Blaylock drove away a number of core Trek audience members. At least as many
How?
people who were going to start watching the Star Trek show just because she was on it.
All right, better than Dolores Ed, but not better than
Padme. I can't give her better than Padme, man. Padme's a more interesting character.
yeah.
You don't need
Ooh, wait, hang on. Do I really believe that? Processing.
You know that episode where T'Pol just tells the story about her like great grandmother and her crew that crashed on Earth and then decided that's a
really good
great
episode.
It's so funny.
Yeah. I really do enjoy that. She's in some really solid episodes. Padme is doesn't have a lot of like compelling things happening. Like she gets to do cool things, she gets to be a cool action hero, but like she's always so at the mercy of the overall plot that Lucas is trying to tell in the prequels, and kind of like gets less tough as the series goes on until she's sort of whiny in the third one. I might actually. I mean, maybe T'Pol ranks slightly higher. I'm
sold. T'Pol, right above Padme.
You know how I feel about T'Pol, but I do love my Padme too.
T'Pol is our new number 3. All right, Sam. Who's your second character?
Ron Weasley.
Ooh, the ginger.
Yes.
Oh man.
Ron Weasley is the character in Harry Potter who gets the girl.
Ron Weasley's a character in Harry Potter that J.K. Rowling hates herself and writes articles about, which I don't get, but she does. She hates Ron. She thinks that Hermione's too good for Ron. Which she is.
Ron is the heart and soul of Harry Potter.
I do like Ron. But JK, she doesn't like Ron.
He's a bit of a bitch, though.
He's like always like competitive. He's not talking. He's like
and
least
jealous.
skilled.
He does occasionally
jealous all the time.
This is where I'm gonna give him props, bro to bro. Punches above his league. Hermione, that was a piece.
No, for sure. Good for him.
Yeah, all the Weasley brothers.
Yeah, the Weasley whole family in general is just great character after great character.
Yeah.
Ron might not even be the best Weasley.
No.
Because I would probably rate Fred and George above Ron.
Yeah.
And Fred, that's a thing for a future thing, but do you even rate Fred and George separately, or do they go on the list as
one character?
One of them died, and that kind of separates them at the end there.
But, I mean, it's obviously not the same. Ron is super integral to the story.
Yeah, he's super important.
I like Ron.
And, he gets bitchy and jealous, but he sticks by his friends when shit gets serious.
Eventually.
Like school shit, you're like, yeah, he'll get jealous about, but if something's going down...
He leaves the tent when they're camping.
God damn
walks
it.
out on them.
I know, it's like a...
Right? The one time that it's actually unforgivable.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're
arguing against your own character that you nominated right there.
Hey, this isn't us bringing 3 characters we think are awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to
grab
a basket of difference.
I think
Ginger Power, JK's wrong. Ron, #bro life.
I think that Ron I think Ron's better than T'Pol.
Agreed.
I think that's not true because T'Pol. I would much rather watch T'Pol for hours on end than I would ever watch Ron.
You would rather watch the T'Pol 1-hour solo adventure than the 1-hour Ron Weasley solo adventure?
Well, don't get me wrong, folks. I love Harry Potter, but the T'Pol that brings back memories,
dreams
I had of being young and ever, seeing beauty that exists like that. Does it exist? Can you catch a butterfly with chopsticks? I don't know.
I don't think T'Pol's even the hottest girl in Star Trek.
That season?
That season on Enterprise? Well, that's a different question.
Don't bring up Jadzia Dax.
Not even.
Jadzia Dax
not even the hottest in Deep Space Nine.
Who are we bringing up? Who do we like here?
Well, Kira's better than Dax, for sure.
You're all wrong.
Look, I don't want to turn this into a who's the hottest chick conversation, but I got to say Lita on DS9.
Well, yeah, if you're just going by looks.
Chase Masterson is very cool. She goes to all the conventions, still interacts with fans. Excellent person, but now we're way off topic.
We are.
Ron Weasley.
I
think...
Is he better than Dargo?
Is he better than Dargo?
Yes.
Oh, man, both.
Of course he's better than Dargo.
There's some similarities there. Yeah. With them being, second sidekick.
Ron
Grading
Weasley
against
is
it sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes wanting to be the top dog, but never really being able to.
Dargo. Do you think Khal Drogo he was like reading that? That's like very similar. I just noticed that.
Yeah, but wasn't he writing that before Farscape came out? Because the first book came out in like 93 or 95 or something, right?
Ron Weasley's better than Khal Drogo.
So the question was Rocky O'Bannon reading George R. R. Martin and saying, no one's ever going to read this shit.
Oh, man.
But I got to say, I feel like it's a tough contest between the two, but I have to give it to Ron on cultural significance. Like, that's a character that has resonated with millions.
Okay.
Farscape has at best
resonated with 1 million at best.
All right, well, I'd give it to Dargo, but I'm outmatched here. So.
Yeah, you are.
Ron
Weasley.
All right, guys, I got a top shooter.
Go for it.
Optimus Prime.
Oh, bro! Bro, I was so ready to hate. I just wanted to hate on who, but...
Optimus Prime.
Optimus is
The
dope.
Warrior Pope. General of Cybertron.
Is Optimus better than Indy? Oh my god.
Is Optimus Prime... Okay, so
Yeah.
Optimus Prime...
Yeah, I'm saying that.
Yeah,
I'm saying
he's
it
a
now.
leader, and he's a little selfish. I mean, Optimus is like...
I mean,
dope.
Peter Cullen's performance as Optimus Prime, like, every time you hear that voice rumbling, like,
Yes.
from the classic cartoon, from any of the newer... Like, he is the high point of any Transformers movie he appears in.
Yeah. Everybody's favorite character.
Yes.
When
Because,
he broke the hearts of millions of children when he died in Transformers the movie in the first 15 minutes, and kids were like, I can't believe I went to see Transformers the movie and Optimus Prime's dead.
Oh.
15 minutes in.
yes.
I mean...
But
just,
I mean...
the struggle,
Yes.
the fight against incredible odds, the rivalry with Megatron.
Unlike Luke, he never turns into a bitter piece of shit.
He never compromised his morals. He's willing to
never
accept
has.
changes in his own philosophy
You're right.
based on new information.
Let's just put him at 1. What can we say? We just put him at 1.
He is Optimus Prime, so...
He is. I mean, he's
Optimus
Optimus
Prime.
Prime. You gotta put him at 1.
40 years of dominance of pop culture. Optimus Prime, that's the one Transformer everybody wants.
Yeah.
That's a heavy hitter.
I
He can
mean,
turn into a truck, man.
he turns into a truck. Red, white, and blue.
Yeah, red, white, and blue. Hell yeah. America!
New number 1, beating out Indiana Jones in almost a landslide. Optimus Prime of Cybertron. Mr. Burr, who is your last character?
So I was thinking a lot of different versions, but I'm gonna have to put Daenerys Targaryen.
Daenerys Targaryen. 2 Game of Thrones characters.
So hot.
I
I mean, just beautiful. People know that I have a weakness for Rhaegar. I like the Targaryens in general. I love the story. I'm into it. She's a great Targaryen character. But also, as you can probably tell from the way I put my choices, I'm just, I'm affected by beauty, and she's just so beautiful.
She's Queen of Dragons.
I got the beauty choices.
My
tonight. That's my theme.
dragons!
I'm
Mother
thrown
of
in.
Dragons.
I'm thrown in the beautiful bells of the ball.
I think that Daenerys Targaryen is a good character. I think she is interesting. But I actually think that she's one of the least interesting characters in Game of Thrones. I think that her chapters in the books are almost never the most interesting.
Agreed.
I think that her character, by the necessitation of the plot, was oftentimes in like this weird holding pattern or like rotating around and bouncing off of plot points in order to like keep her busy, since she couldn't interact with any of the various main cast people who were interacting with each other. And every time, what are the best stuff with Daenerys? It's when, oh shoot, that guy who was part of the other plot sailed over here and now he's interacting with Daenerys. Now this story's interesting.
Yeah.
No, I
true.
think I really do think Daenerys holds the ace in the hole. She affects every other character's plot. She is behind the curtains with everything with her dragons.
I think she's the most interesting in the first book / season and the last.
Yeah, I think
book / season.
I think she's.
I think a lot of the middle stuff is very draggy with her. But once we get all the stuff with Khal Drogo and all the initial stuff, I think is very good and interesting. And she
was okay.
defines herself as a cool character. Who
I
can,
think
the fact that she's this little 15-year-old girl who makes herself known amongst this warrior tribe, that's a cool plot I can get behind.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Once she's fully the Queen of Dragons and is sailing towards Westeros, and when she's defeating those weird magicians and stuff,
Yeah,
in her triumphant points, that's really good stuff. But a
lot
lot
of
of we're lost in the desert and starving, and now we can go to the city, but these people are jerks. And oh no, my dragons, where are my dragons? I like her, but I'm not going to rank her above a lot of other Game of Thrones characters. She's obviously better than Dolores Head.
I would
Obviously.
rank her
Maybe a little.
I would rank her higher than a lot of characters in Game of Thrones. I mean, it's her and Jon. At this point, she is. It's it's actually Jon is himself.
Jon is a far more interesting character than Daenerys.
Yeah,
far more.
But I like Jon a lot, and I'd say that equally. But I think that they're both the two focal points of the series, and they're both equal in that respect.
We both do believe, all three of us, I think, believe that they are the Song of Ice and Fire.
Well, I mean, I think the Song of Ice and Fire. To be fair, I think the Song of Ice and Fire is just Jon. I think it was the relationship between his parents, so he is the result of the Song of Ice and Fire. and she's maybe outside that, but it could be between them two as like a secondary. I don't know, but my theory is the Song of Ice and Fire was the prelude, because I love how he deals with the past. Not to go to a sidebar, but the past is the romance that we never get to actually see. The Song of Ice and Fire is Rhaegar's love of Lyanna.
Right? Yeah.
But going back to Daenerys, I think she's an amazing character. She is very capable. She has a natural intelligence. She is a natural leader. She is ambitious. I mean, a lot of stuff. She's got justice.
I think she's better than Padme.
Yeah.
Yeah. Padme.
I think she's better than T'Pol.
Maybe.
I mean, one thing about Daenerys is that we don't know where her story's going to end up, so we're only going based on the 5 books and 7 seasons of show that we've seen.
I would put her above Ron myself, but if people don't agree with me, then I'd put her under Ron. But that's
the question to me: is she better or worse than Dargo?
Me, absolutely. Like, that's unquestionable, because I think the story on itself and scope and whatnot, I mean, just she is, in my opinion. But
I like Dargo more. But it kind of goes back to the Ron Weasley thing. Daenerys is a character that
more important.
So many have identified with and like love, and she's basically like the modern Wonder Woman. Like that's the big nerd pop culture female character that everybody freaking loves. People name their kids.
Yeah.
Not only do characters name their people name their kids like Daenerys and shit. People name their kids Khaleesi now.
I might name my kid Daenerys. I really do love that name.
Well, I don't care what people do.
Daenerys Stormborn. That's the mother of dragons, dog.
I can't put her above Ron, but I can put her above Dargo.
Yeah, I guess if we're going by impact on culture, I mean, that's fine.
Yes. Targaryen. Okay, so next, who's your final character, Sam?
Dr. Girlfriend.
Dr.
Venture
Girlfriend
Bros.
from the Venture Brothers. The one with the real raspy voice.
Yeah, no, I know Dr. Girlfriend. Funny, yes.
She's fine, but I feel like she hasn't had anything to do for like 3 seasons, and they keep trying to find something for her to do, and it's rough.
And
because
she's not as interesting as she was in the early seasons when she was basically running the Monarch operation.
Right.
Now she's basically running the whole evil operation, kind of, but it's not working as well.
Right.
I'll concede to that.
There's a lot of bureaucracy with her now. A lot of, Monarch can't reveal to her what he's doing stuff, like where she now has to be like the spouse who stuff is being hidden from and is naggy. Right. And is like, oh, I'm the responsible one. And, so, the character has stepped down recently, in my estimation.
She's fine. Funny character.
Very funny character.
Easy character to like, but I would put her in, this is not to anything, but I would put her on the bottom of the list.
If we're going on attractiveness.
It's attractive, it's whatever, but that's a cartoon. First of all, I'm not a weirdo. So, cartoons do little for me. But just, in general, I don't know. That would be on the bottom of my list, but hey, wherever you put her,
I would not put her below Dolores Head.
I would, because I love Song of Ice and Fire. He's a character, and I love it. He's a good character. He's just not a major character, but to me, he's much more fleshed out.
I wouldn't put her above Padme.
I'm probably not above Padme. I don't know if I'd put her above Dolores Head, but
I wouldn't.
If you guys want to vote me under,
I wouldn't.
She's definitely better than Jar Jar Binks.
Yes.
Yeah, no, definitely better.
I forgot Jar Jar was on that list.
All right, you guys convinced me. Dr. Mrs. the Monarch. Number 9. Last on my list. Eddie Brock. Venom.
Oh, well, Eddie Brock. Well, Eddie Brock is awesome.
Eddie Brock is definitely in my top 10 comic book
characters.
Are we ranking him
Eddie Brock / Venom?
Mm-hmm.
With Venom not being a character of its own?
The Venom symbiote is not a character on its own. We can rank Eddie as Venom. We can rank Flash Thompson as Venom.
Okay.
The symbiote having its own personality and voice is a very new thing in the Venom mythos, and I'm prepared to acknowledge the symbiote as a separate character perhaps in the future, but right now I think that Eddie Brock with Venom is one singular character.
That's a good point. Let's just establish now that a joined species with the symbiote is one character.
Yes, Jadzia Dax will be ranked as Jadzia Dax.
I guess Ezri Dax would be another character.
Ezri Dax and Curzon Dax.
Curzon Dax.
Yes, they are different characters.
Yeah.
So
Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock, Venom. He I mean, it's very much a specific era of comics, if you like Venom or not, as far... Like, there's people who are Spider-Man fans who think Venom is the best, and people who are Spider-Man fans who think that Venom ruined Spider-Man.
He's like my favorite part of Spider-Man now.
I mean, even before he had a incredible comic series, he was one of my top characters, just on concept. I mean, that's so cool.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
The storylines he's involved in, those classic comic runs, as a villain against Spider-Man. Later, as the Lethal Protector. The arc where he's taken weird toxins and has multiple heads and he's fighting Juggernaut. Or he teams up with Wolverine and to go on an intergalactic secret agent mission to find a shapeshifter named Dirtnap. Or recently where we found out that the symbiotes are all descended from a dark interstellar god and he actually has the ability to display giant bat wings. And we found out that all of his green slime is poop. There's just so many layers to this character, and I know that I'm going to have, and probably you as well, Sam, are going to have a lot of connection to this character.
Yeah.
That is going to drive us to want him higher. But
I always feel like he is better as a hero than a villain.
I like the Lethal Protector. A lot of people like Venom as a pure villain, and I'm 100% in the Lethal Protector.
I'm usually not one of those people who prefers the villain to be, when they're in their hero form, pretending to be a hero or actually a hero for a little while, and then they eventually go back to being a villain. Most of the time, I'd rather they be a villain. Not with Venom. I prefer him as the Lethal Protector.
Well, his villainy was so personal. It was so just based on Spider-Man. And as soon as, even when he was still Spider-Man's enemy, when they established that he cared about innocence, and that he didn't want innocence to be harmed in his pursuit of Spider-Man. That was the hook he needed. And that's all they had to do was twist that a little farther to, if Spider-Man's out of the picture, he's not going to be hurting any good people. He's going to be protecting good people. It was a natural progression for me. And
true.
Like the symbiote stuff, there's so much cool stuff. And Carnage is a better symbiote villain anyway.
So new number one? Oh,
no,
wait.
not a chance.
I would
Honestly, I wouldn't put Venom above Indiana Jones.
I wouldn't put him above...
But I would put him above Ron Weasley.
I wouldn't. I'd put him above Call Dargo.
Okay.
Just leave him there.
So we've got a range between 2 and 5. What do you think, Sam?
What do I think?
Is he better than Dargo?
Is he better than... Yeah, he's better than Dargo.
Is he better than Daenerys Targaryen?
No.
Yeah, he's better than Daenerys.
I mean, you can't even pull the pop culture thing because I would argue that Venom has had a more impressive pop culture effect considering the number of multimedia things he's appeared in versus how popular stuff like his logo is.
Well, yeah,
people know this character.
Yeah.
They made a movie with him that didn't mention Spider-Man and was, by most critics' estimation, not a well-made movie, and it broke records. Like, people love this character. He is culturally significant.
That's a good movie.
An excellent visual design.
Yeah.
Compelling motivations. Well-defined powers that are still open to later retconning of more cool things happening. I think that the spot for Eddie Brock Venom on this list is above Daenerys, above Ron Weasley, below Indiana Jones.
Above Ron. Or below Ron.
I have to put him above Daenerys. Ron is the one that you could talk me down on.
I'd put him under Ron, at least for me. I mean, Ron's bigger.
I can hear that. You're not a big comics guy, so that's totally understandable.
Yeah, see, I'd much rather read a Venom comic
Than
a
a
Ron
Ron
comic.
I would much rather read a Ron comic.
Really?
Yeah.
If I handed you, here's a 48-pager of like a self-contained story, you're going to read the Ron Weasley one.
Yeah,
over
what the fuck?
Eddie
If
Brock
somebody
Venom
took the
one.
time, J.K. took the time to write a Ron
Not
Weasley.
written by J.K. Both things are written by authors you like equally. It's not the original creators of each.
Yes, Ron Weasley. For me.
It's up to you, Sam.
I'm gonna say that Venom is not as good as Ron Weasley.
I can accept that. So above Daenerys Targaryen, below Ron Weasley, Eddie Brock, Venom. And that is that. We put 9 characters on the list. We have 11 total. Number 1 is Optimus Prime. Number 11 is Jar Jar Binks. And we'll be back in the future with more ranking. If you've got characters you'd like us to rank, let us know. We'd be happy to throw them on. If you got an idea for a name for this segment, let us know. We're not ironed into the name yet.
Right.
Leave us a comment, leave us a like, subscribe, and keep listening.